on the drive, goes inside the floor. Turn him over again. Booker scoops it up. Booker brings the boom.
NBA Hardwood Show, baby. We're back. Two-man booth here for a nice little 4-game NBA slate, talking DraftKings, DFS. I got my man Mangone. He's ready for his in-depth, full analysis injury report that we'll have for you shortly. Mangone, how are you doing here on this fine Tuesday afternoon?
Yeah, we got a really clean injury report today compared to other days. Like I did say yesterday, JC, I was on with AP, and I said, "Do you want me to give an injury report to kick off the show?" And he was like, "No, please don't." On that show, I mean, it was a 10-gamer, 5 games at night. We did not give the injury report early, but it seems like we have a clean and quick slate, or I shouldn't say quick slate. It's one of those that goes for a while because there's 2 early games, 2 night games, but I like those games. I like to be able to swap and, mess around with my teams. It was a good day yesterday. Made some money because I loaded up on the Nuggets. It was backloaded enough. And, I'm not seeing it as one of those slates. I think we'll have to make some stands early. I think the cores will be up early, and everyone will be pretty happy with today's slate.
Yeah, yesterday's slate was that was peak. You talked about April DFS, but see, the thing is, Mangone, it's not April DFS anymore. It's now it started much earlier. It's pretty much like after the All-Star break now, we're getting April DFS. That's literally what we're getting. So we've had April DFS for about 2 weeks now, three weeks maybe. I don't even know, but it was great. Like yesterday, I don't know about you, but I didn't expect all those Nuggets to rest. Then we got that news that they were all resting. We already had the Pacers news. So I didn't have as many spots to maneuver. I obviously tried to get Russell Westbrook in as many lineups as I could. And I liked Aaron Gordon. That was one thing that kind of I got lucky with, was I liked Aaron Gordon a lot. My issue was I already had so much savings that I didn't need to play Aaron Gordon. So it was am I playing Aaron Gordon, or am I playing trying to think of someone in the 8K range?
Jaren Jackson Jr.
Jr. You know what I mean? And I'm like, how do I play Aaron Gordon over Jaren Jackson Jr., even though I really like Aaron Gordon when I saw that starting lineup?
Yeah, so I actually didn't like Gordon as much as you, JSU, but that was early on. I think once the starter lineup came out and I saw Tyson was starting and all these guys, it changed a little bit. But did you see, I tweeted this out, did you see a team, so in the $50 qualifier, and I think it was in a couple other contests.
Is this the dude who played DeAndre Jordan?
Yes, dude. So this guy played DeAndre Jordan. So this is what happened. I actually, someone added the guy on my thing and said, I think it was this guy. And he kind of explained himself. So his team was insane. He had Jalen Green, Quentin Grimes, Obi Toppin, all locked in, right? And then he wanted to jam in. Apparently he wanted Denny Avia, right? He wanted Desmond Bane. He wanted Aaron Gordon and Westbrook. So if you jammed all those guys in, you're stuck with DeAndre Jordan at your center spot. He just wanted to. So thinking that back, if I was him, I would have not played Denny, and I would have played Michael Porter Jr. And then but I don't know what center you would have got from 3K to 3.7. I guess you'd have to look more in depth at it. But
yeah, I don't know where he would have had to a fall. Was Quentin Post 3.7? I can't even
Yeah, maybe he was 3.9 or 4.1. I bet he was a little more. But
I mean, he didn't do shit either, obviously. But I'm just saying, I can't think of who he would have ended up falling into, I guess. But either way, that's insane that he came in second, right? He came in second.
Yeah,
it was 0.5 from tying or whatever.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. So it was last night was a wild slate. It was a fun one.
Yeah, you
but
might have ended up on Duop or something, Mangone.
yeah, you could have went Duop Reith for sure. But he had 3K flat. Like you had to. I mean, obviously you could have went MPJ and Duop Reith. To be fair, I thought DeAndre Jordan would have played like at least like 10 minutes, right? You know what I mean?
I think the problem was when you don't see him in the starting lineup, you have to pause because you know the team in Golden State, obviously, right? Like you don't need to play DeAndre Jordan. I agree with you though. It was like, oh, he still should get a few minutes, right? Like,
Zeke. The argument you can make, JSU, is they were going small ball, and when you didn't see Zeke Nananji in the starting lineup, which I thought he was going to start, that was probably like he's probably the backup center, and then
they can start Zeke when Jokic is there. Still, they know they can't do it when Jokic isn't there, though. The lineup that they started made a lot of sense with who they had. Like the lineup would have been completely different, Mangone, if like everyone but Jokic that was out was still out, and maybe like Westbrook was out or MPJ or someone, that I could still see them starting like Najee next to Jokic or something. But without Jokic, the lineup made a lot of sense to me. So, it was interesting. Jordan not playing. That sucks for him too.
And people
not getting that seat.
People are making fun of me for just saying the double end and Nanji. Yeah, I'm like adding like an extra end. I don't know. I don't. Nanji.
That's what we do on this show. Yeah. We fuck up names. We add extra letters or whatever. We, it's something silent. We don't say it's silent. Don't worry about it, chat.
Also,
okay?
JSU, I have a good update. George, I am locked in, right, with the no furniture. I have furniture, but it looks like you hear I have none. But JSU, for March Madness, I have.
You got a window at least, bro. You got a window.
I got the window. But for March Madness, I made sure, JSU, I have the 2 TVs, and they're going to be set up by the time Thursday gets here. So I'll have to post a screenshot on Thursday for March Madness for the people so they can see it on Twitter. So I'll get a nice picture for everyone when the games start, and it'll be good.
And then you ship one more time, you get a third TV. I see how this is going. The trend that you're saying, I get it. You're slowly rolling, up. That's what you're doing. You're slow rolling it.
Well, to be fair, like this is my argument why I haven't gotten like all my things right away. It's like, what rush am I in for stuff, right? Like, do I need to get everything right away? Like, can I just take my time? I don't know.
That's fair.
It's just
fair.
I also didn't know how I wanted to.
You got no one busting your balls, Mangone. Like you get to go home and there's silence, right? There's peace and there's quiet and there's Mangone. There's no one else, right? And some of us, we get to go home and there is no silence. Okay. So I get it from that understanding that no one is pushing you to, up your light game or whatever, because I will say from this angle, even though the window's there, it still looks like pretty dark in your house, or in your apartment. I
bought like these like LED lights that I thought would be sick.
You need lava lamps, bro. Get some lava lamps.
Yeah. I bought these LED lights that I thought would be like sick, and like they sucked. So like I basically am pissed about those. So I gotta regroup and figure out a better plan for those things. They were going to be a cool concept, but it's not going to work the way I want it to. So I'll figure out a better one.
Sam. Oh, what's up, Sam? How we doing? Lava lamps? Are you? Fuck George. Leave me alone, bro. Lava lamps were sick when I was 12. Okay.
Yeah, they were. They were
here. Love me some lava lamps. I don't have any, but I can still remember back to when I did have one, and it was pretty sweet.
You know what I need to get?
George, we started somewhat on time, so get off my ass. AP was yelling at me yesterday in a meeting, telling me that we got to start these shows on time. So I had to get my shit in gear, make sure I was on time. I saw you in the chat, though, George. You were saying JSU's involved, so this show's going to be much later. It's not going to go on time. I got you. AP, the boss, was yelling at me, and I got my shit together, and I got it done.
JSU, I have a good idea. You know, remember back in the day, remember those big like light up signs? Imagine I got like a big Hooters light up sign behind me or something like that. Those would be funny to have.
I'm telling you, you just need some different lighting here. That's
I
all
agree.
you in this room. You just need a little different lighting. Because when people look at my picture with the light and then yours, it's like complete. You are just like, it's just dark.
Yeah, it's not.
It's like one of those. It's like one of those like scary movies where it's like hard to see most of the movie, man, going because it's just kind of darker. It's just the lighting's pitch. Like that's what your room looks like. It's like a horror movie. You need lights, okay? We need to get some light so we can see Mangone. Like I can barely see your face.
I'll find a good one because, like I said, the lighting I did find for it was terrible. So it wasn't. I set it up and I was like, "This like, yeah, the lamp, yeah, the lamp rod from what's that movie called? The Christmas Story. That's great. Yeah, I know one of my friend's dads. He has that lamp and he sets it up every year in the window. It's hilarious.
That's all you need. You just need a little different lighting to mesh with that window, and then you'll be good. I don't think anyone else will be saying anything. Now you could get. I just like to bring this up. Shout out the GOAT, Rob Gronkowski, a nice signed Rob Gronkowski jersey if you'd like here.
There you go.
Get you something like that, little memorabilia.
I got the Pierce and the Favre autograph stuff, and I have the Rodgers signed helmet and Charles Woodson, so I got those as well. But.
Charles Woodson, you got a signed Charles Woodson helmet?
Yeah, because he was part of the Packers team that won that Super Bowl in like 2011 or 2010.
That's right. I forgot about that. Charles Woodson was dope.
What year is the Super Bowl considered? Like for instance, when this past year, right? Did the Eagles win the 2024 Super Bowl or the 2025? You get what I'm saying? It's 2024, right?
I would assume 24.
That's what I would assume too. I just figured I would. If that's the case, then I think Packers won the 2010, I believe.
I couldn't tell if Mangone was trying to like trick question me or something like that, like he knew, but no, I would assume it's 24, right?
Yeah, that's my assumption as well. Derek, I will not get a Rodgers Vikings jersey, but as a big Rodgers guy, I am praying.
Randall's fucking with us. He said 25. He might be right. I don't know.
I'm curious. I figured it was like the season, right? Because like
now I gotta look it up.
Like this coming up Super Bowl, whoever wins, will they be the 2025 or 26 champs? Is it the year they won it, or is it the year of most of the season?
I don't know, man. Go and look it up.
I'll look it up. Let me see. So
look it up now, because now I'm second guessing myself right now. Randall got me a little worried right now.
No. See, IBT, it's not both. It's one or the other. No one says the 10 and 11 and then the 11 and 12. It's one or the other. Which one is it?
I know Rod. Rod's a straight shooter. It might be 25 Mangone. We might be wrong.
Again, I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not even saying I'm right or wrong. I don't know the answer. I'm asking for the answer, basically. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Oh, now Derek's saying 24. See, I think chat's just really trying to fuck with us right now. Did you look it up?
I tried. I can't figure it out.
What do you mean?
What do you Google? Like Eagles year NFL champ. Like I don't even know what you type in.
Yeah. Like what year did the Eagles win the Super Bowl? Just see what comes up.
Okay, let's.
God, do we gotta ask AI? It'll be whatever AI says.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it says they won in 2025, but does that mean they're the champs?
Oh, so then it's then it's 25 Mangone. We might be wrong.
Maybe it's now another guy says it. Pepe says it too. That's what I'm saying, man. Like it's.
How can we all have different answers?
Lally, you figure it out.
The other.
I can't figure out Google. P. Lally, you have 5 minutes. It's 5 o'clock Eastern. You have 5 minutes to figure out the right answer. Yes, I'm yelling at you, P. Lally, because I'm telling you, no one says 84, 85, or 85, 86. They say the 1985 Bears. Like that's actually a good way. That's a great way to do it. So, 1985 Bears. It'll probably say the year they won, right?
It should.
Yeah. Let me figure this out.
Because you're right, Bears. No one says it like that. They all say just the 1 year.
I know. No one says it's both. I'm on the case right now. So
Mangone's going to figure it out for us. It might take this entire show, but Mangone's going to figure this out because now I'm curious.
So it says the 1985 season was the Chicago Bears 66 season. So I'm assuming it's the 24 season then. That's what I would guess. Okay, hold on. Now look up NFL championship.
Google who won the 2025 Super Bowl. See what comes up.
I don't think that's the way to do it. I think you could do it that way. I'm looking up the history of champions, and that's going to tell me the answer. Okay, so 1985 was Bears and Patriots.
I Googled it, Mangone, and it came up as the Eagles. So they might be.
But when I look it up, I'm using Wikipedia here. It says
right. Remember the 72 Dolphins? That was the team that went undefeated, right? The 72 Dolphins. Like no one says 72, 73 Dolphins or
correct.
71, 72.
So when you look at Wikipedia right now, I'm on it. I'm not saying that's the correct source, but it says 2024 Eagles and Chiefs. So that means the Eagles were the 24 champs, right? Like we call them if we say
all right. That's it. We're going with Wikipedia. They're the 2024 NFL champions. Mangone, you figured out the mystery. I don't have to think about it.
Because the Dolphins are 72, right? When I looked at like the years and everything, and the Bears were 85.
So Mangone's a real Green Bay Packers fan. I'm a fake Green Bay Packers fan, as in I just like some of the players and have liked a lot of the players throughout the years, but I'm not like I root for the team every year. It just seems that way because I feel like I've been on them the past few years. But Mangone's a real, cheesehead, whatever you call it.
Yeah. I got the cheesehead. I had a Favre jersey. I claimed Matthews for a little bit, and then Rodgers. Those are like the main three that I've had. I would say.
There you go.
But yeah, we could ask Jeeves. Ask Jeeves. That's a throwback right there. Since we're talking about lava lamps, a little Ask Jeeves maybe. But so we've decided it's the 24 champs. P. Lally, I don't know what you've decided, but your homework assignment, you got 2 minutes to give me your answer. P. Lally, you're not off the hook yet. But
so Steven wants the injury report. Paulie says he's a real Packers fan. It's whatever year the Super Bowl is in. Eagles were the 2025 champs. Okay.
That's not what I'm saying based on what I looked at. I'm calling the Eagles the 2024 champs.
Reggie's right back there. Spaniard, he's sleeping. Should be able to kind of see him. I know my mic's a little in the way, but he's right back there on the couch. He's taking a nap.
All right, P. Lally agrees. We're not all in agreement, but me and P. Lally are now. There we go. Right. Jeff Frank says it. The actual Eagles fan. So there you go. Yeah. We've solved the mystery.
We're like Mangone. We're like 3-1. Every like 4 messages, we get like one person that says, "No, it's the 2025 championship." It's like, all right, well, we're going with the majority here, and I think the majority is 24. So we're going with the majority.
And as you say it, there's Donnie with the 2025. It's
yeah, exactly. See, it's like I'm telling you, every 3 or 4 messages, we get one. Well, yeah, I don't understand. Sam, I don't get this. Lava lamps were sick when I was a young kid. I don't know why people are hating on lava lamps. It's ridiculous.
Lava lamps are cool. I mean, I'm not saying we're not saying we got our house decked out in lava lamps. It's not like you and Jay.
No, but I'm saying back, 30 something years ago, like lava lamps were cool. Leave it alone. Like, geez, I get it. It's changed. It's 2025, but lava lamps could be cool back 30 years ago. Like, let it just be.
Yeah,
don't get
for sure. JSU, before we start on mixing words together, we should mention there's a college basketball show tonight, right? Is that correct? Steve said on Sunday he was doing a show.
There is people asked me on Twitter too. There is a college basketball show. I am not on it, thank God. Steve, Big T, I think Gavin will be on talking. They're going to break down the entire bracket. So they'll go through all the regions or whatever, and they'll break the entire March Madness bracket down and go through it, give you their winners, give you their insight. No one follows college basketball, not just March Madness. College basketball more and better than Stevie Boynton does. That dude grinds everything when it comes to college basketball. He's one of the best out there. He's over at Run Pure Sports. He covers our entire college basketball product from a DFS and also a betting side. And he crushes. So you're not going to get someone more knowledgeable. Gavin, one of the guys that does the show with Steve every week, also super knowledgeable when it comes to college basketball. And then you're going to get Big T, the March. No one loves March Madness more than I think my guy, Big T. That he drops everything for March Madness. Like, forget about everything else that's going on, Mangone. When March Madness hits, Big T is just all in college basketball.
Yeah, I texted Big T last night when Jokic got ruled out. I said, wasn't this just absolute poetry? Big T quits the NBA and then Jokic finally sits a game. I mean, I was dying. Like,
he was mad today. He sent me like a video of them. I think it was on ESPN. I can't remember who the actual people were, but they were getting on Nikola Jokic for sitting because that game was nationally televised, right, Mangone?
Yeah.
So
nationally.
So they were getting on them they were like, they play the Wizards on Saturday and they could have sat this game and that game and stuff. It's like
they play. By the way, they play the Lakers on ESPN on Wednesday, so it's like
that's another one. Yeah,
I kind of get why they sat. Like, if you're gonna pick Golden State or the Lakers, like you play them for the Lakers.
Mangone, I'll just say it right now. Like, the Lakers and Golden State, those might be the two best teams in the West. Just throwing that one out there. Like, those are two really good teams. So I'm not saying like save it. I agree with you. Like, the Lakers game, I guess I would lean to save as opposed to Golden State. But I take it from more of a point like, dude, Jokic is one of those stars that like never sits. So, or very rarely, I feel like sits in a lot of these spots. So the fact that he sat one time, like, there's so many other superstars that sit all the time and no one talks about it. And then Jokic does it once. I agree on the surface with it, right? Like, we shouldn't be sitting out, especially nationally televised games. It's a bad look for the NBA. But like, Jokic does it once and they're killing him on live TV. When other players do it, I feel like no one says a word. So that's just the way I feel. A little hypocritical, for someone, a superstar that doesn't sit many games. Probably the wrong game to sit, but I thought it was kind of ridiculous for someone like Jokic who plays most of the time.
Yeah, I'll admit I didn't get my dose of First Take today to hear what they were yapping.
I don't think it was First Take. It was another show, and I didn't see it. Big T sent me the clip, so because of course Big T sees anything and I made fun of him for this. I'm like, anyone that shits on Jokic, somehow you always see it. Like, so if anyone gets mad at Jokic, you're gonna say something. So of course Big T. Homer. But I actually agree with this take. His take is exactly what I said, which I think he's right on. Like, Jokic sits out one game, but he doesn't sit out that many, and he gets shit on for it. Other guys do this all the time, and no one says anything.
Yeah, do you think that's Big T's entire For You page? It's like Jokic, Joe Burrow, LeBron James. Like, that's his whole For You page on Twitter.
He's got that picture of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. They're all like holding hands together. He's got it up on his wall. Like, yes, I got my trio for the next 5 years, even though you have no defense. Yeah. But yes, I'm going to score 30 plus points a game next year, and it will be great. So, and they also got rid of their defensive coordinator. Their defense is in trouble.
I'm the type of person, I don't like to make fun of the team until the product is finished, right? Like, people will say, oh, this free agency move happened. Well, let's see what happens in the draft. I want to give them time.
But there's no fun in that.
Yeah. I mean, I just think the finished product matters. So I don't want to hate on the Bengals yet, but I'm just asking the question, is that the best use of our salary if you're a Bengals fan? I just don't think so. I mean, they'll be fun. We'll see. I want to see.
T. Higgins sits out when he's got a pinky injury. He sits out when he's got a tummy ache. He sits out when he's got, leg cramps. Like that. That guy will make any excuse to sit out of a football game, and you just paid that man.
Yeah, that's the one guy I would have been okay with walking. Like, just sign Burrow, sign Chase, use a lot of your money for offensive linemen, defensive linemen, but maybe they're just doing most of that through the draft, and then
I mean, let's be
eventually
honest. They're trying to keep Joe Burrow happy. Joe Burrow said, "Yo, guys, I want T and Chase.
Yeah.
I want them both. So figure it out." And
No, it's fair.
Yeah.
If the Bengals are smart, they would go very heavy offensive linemen and defensive linemen, so they have them on cheap contracts over the next couple of years, and then eventually, when those guys are old and their contracts don't matter, then you can move them out, and then you can sign those.
You have Joe Burrow. You can go find a wide receiver in the draft that Joe Burrow can like build chemistry with. Like that's the point of having an elite quarterback. Tom Brady literally threw to undrafted wide receivers and made them into superstars. Like he could figure, like Joe Burrow's that type of elite quarterback, he could figure it out with young guys.
I agree with you. I definitely am a big believer of building your draft that way. And then when you are like a team like the Eagles who won the Super Bowl, when you're in a really good position and you've already built up really good draft equity with the players you have, and they're on cheap deals, then you can go splurge for a Saquon Barkley in the market, right? So I'm with you.
There you go. Exactly, Rod. And the list goes on. He's not the only one. They just did it with he did it with whoever was there. So yeah, that's that. That's our little NFL talk. Sam was loving the Bengals talk during an NBA show. You're welcome, Sam. I hope you enjoyed that. But we got hoops to talk, man, going 4 games, 2 at 7, one at 7 and 1 at 7:30. And then you got 2 night games, 1 at 10 and 1 at 10:30. So you got a nice little spacer, 2 games and 2 games, man, going. So obviously there's going to be some strategy in this slate big time with how do you backload a little bit more? Is there news that we're waiting on? Obviously we got some news that you will break down in a second, but I do think from a strategy standpoint, this is an interesting slate. What are you seeing here, man, going?
Yeah, I mean, the main pieces of news, right? We'll get the LaMelo Ball, we'll get the Jason Tatum, and then Curry, I'm assuming, does not play, and then Evan Mobley's questionable. So, like, one, we're dealing with Golden State news. Do you want to deal with Golden State, like, players that much? Not exactly, but they're in play. I'm not going to say you can't ignore it. And then I do think the Evan Mobley thing it's not nothing, right? Because if he does miss, that is going to open up some opportunities. So I don't know exactly how to plan for it yet. I want to see what happens with Tatum and Ball, and I think then that will help me decide exactly what I want to do. The good thing is you are going to have a lot of information on this slate, which is one thing I love with having our partner Saber Sim is we'll have a lot of information and we can swap our lineups later on in order to put ourselves in the best position. So I like the longer slates. I think it's beneficial to me as a DFS player. So I'm excited to see what happens with the early games, and I think we need that Ball and Tatum news, and that'll help me decide what I'm going to do with the later games.
Did you want to ramble on about all of the injuries that we got, or do you want to go game by game and give each game the injuries?
We can go game by game, slowly through it. It's not a big deal, but those are like the 4 key ones that we're looking at today.
Okay, so those are the 4 key ones that we're looking at. Let's get into the slate here, man. We'll start obviously with game 1, which is Charlotte and Atlanta here. Games in Charlotte. I'll let you get into some of the news because you got a few guys in, few guys out, some guys questionable with this game. But what do you see in here? Obviously, injuries are going to play a big part, which we should get all the news at least before lock of this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's not guaranteed we'll get all the news, right? We might not get the Tatum stuff, but we'll get this games, right? Exactly what you said. LaMelo Ball. So I'm definitely, there's certain players that we have biases against, right, JSU? Like deep down, you hate LeBron James. I get it, right? We all have our guys that we're biased against. I get it. Wait a second. Why does it have to be deep down? I think the majority of people that watch me on these shows know exactly how I feel about majority of players. JSU loves Allen Iverson. JSU hates LeBron James. JSU hates tall fucks in general and loves short basketball players because it's much harder to play hoops and be super small than it is to be really tall. So I give them, an extra boost for that. That's more impressive to me. It's just facts. I think everyone knows that. So for me, it's like I look at LaMelo Ball, right? And if you told me LaMelo Ball and Ant Edwards were the same price, listen, I love Ant Edwards. So I'm going to pick him every single time, right? Like 99 out of 100 times, I'm just going to take him. I know Ant's not on this slate, but the point I'm getting at is when I talk about LaMelo Ball, there's just a bias there and I hate playing it. But, talking with DC on some of the shows this year, he's, made me realize this is the best way to play LaMelo Ball, JSU. Is LaMelo Ball high owned? Yes or no? Yes, today he's high owned. Let's not play him at 43% if he is in, right? 43% owned LaMelo Ball? No. I don't care who he's playing. I don't care what the matchup is. He be going against Snyder and Rubio Dimes. I don't care. I'm not playing 43% owned LaMelo Ball. Like,
if he was going against Snyder and Rubio Dimes, I'm playing 100% LaMelo Ball no matter what, because he would cook. I don't even care if he played 23 minutes. He would cook those dudes in 20. Man, he might have like 70 DK points at halftime.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but the game could be also over by halftime. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
But I don't think he's a good play if he's in. I'm just seeing the ownership. It seems crazy to me. Now, if he's out, that will really, shake this slate up a ton, right? Of course, Miles Bridges, we should mention, he's out. You know what I mean? That's why LaMelo Ball is getting insane ownership. Mark Williams, 8.1K. I mean, he's at 10% right now. I think he's a really interesting play, someone that I would be looking at here on this slate. Of course, what wings are going to pop up and be interesting plays? Like, who's going to kind of take in that Miles Bridges type of role? Is it going to be Josh Green or Daquan Jeffries? Not exactly sure what they're going to do, but that LaMelo Ball news is important because if LaMelo Ball does sit, that's going to make all these guards even better plays. Right now, Nick Smith Jr.'s usage is going to be insane, and he's going to be someone that we're going to need to look at and get exposure to. If we look at the Atlanta Hawks, I've been playing Okongwu and Dyson Daniels a ton. For one, Dyson Daniels at 6.9K in a matchup against the Charlotte Hornets who play sloppy basketball. Sign me up, right? I love Dyson Daniels against the Nets the other day. I'm going to like Dyson Daniels against the Charlotte Hornets here. I think it's a good spot for Onyeka Okongwu. Only thing I hate about the Onyeka stuff is he is 7.5 now, right? It's not my favorite price tag. And if this game somehow gets out of hand early, you could definitely see them, mess around with some other plays. The nice part is Clint Capella is out. I know when Clint Capella's been in, that's when I know they're not trying to play Clint Capella a lot, the Atlanta Hawks, but if Clint Capella goes in there and plays like a strong 18 minutes, it just hurts a combo. Like having no Capella there is very, very beneficial to Onyeka Okongwu. So he is someone I'm definitely interested in this spot. And then of course you can make the case for someone like a Trae Young, but like I said, I prefer Onyeka Okongwu and Dyson Daniels over those guys. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Hawks. It's mainly looking at Okongwu and Daniels. You could maybe talk me into like a Georges Niang as a cheap value, but it's one of these slates. I think we're going to get better values where I'm not going to be playing a lot of these Atlanta values. So Charlotte's a tough one to really dissect. I don't know if you have any takes on it or if you want to wait for the LaMelo Ball news to kind of make some decisions on it, but that's kind of where I'm at with this game.
Well, the other thing you brought, I agree with your points on LaMelo Ball and his ownership and not really wanting to play a chalky LaMelo Ball. And let's be honest, like it's not like they're giving him extended run, right? He's playing like 30-ish minutes the last few games. And I don't love playing chalky superstars when I feel like the minutes are somewhat capped. Now, who knows? Maybe tonight if he plays, he comes out and he plays like 36, 37 minutes. And, then it's like, okay, he's probably a good play if he plays that amount. But at 30 minutes for a superstar at 9,500, I would definitely take my chances fading the ownership. What you didn't bring up, like, what if he doesn't? Like, what if he doesn't play Mango? Because if he doesn't play, then it changes it completely. You know what I mean?
I said Nick Smith Jr. probably gets the biggest bump if he doesn't, and then of course Mark Williams will be a good play, but I think it's kind of it's tough to say without the news, right? Because once the news hits, now I need to know starting lineups. Now I need to know ownerships. I mean, my crack at the starting lineup right now would be, let's say Ball sits. If Ball sits, the starting lineup, my guess would be Nick Smith Jr. at the 1, you probably put Daquan Jeffries at the 3, Josh Green at the 4, and then you play Mark Williams at the 5.
What about the Damian Bow kid, or however you say his name? He's 3K.
I mean, maybe he starts at the 2. I think they would start Seth Curry at the 2, but we know they haven't done that a ton.
Yeah.
But
if he's with the team, which I think he is, if LaMelo's out, I feel like he would start.
I mean, he could. Wendell Moore Jr., could he start at shooting guard like at 6'5"? Yeah, like he could. But
he's okay too. Like if LaMelo Ball's out, I think it would bump him a little bit too. Like I think it would bump like Nick Smith for sure, Wendell Moore, I think a little bit. Damian Bauer, however you say his name, I think would get some run as long as he's active, which I think he is.
Maybe Marcus Garrett could play some guard. He's 6'5". I know they've been playing him. I saw him in the game and I was like, is Myles Garrett playing some basketball in the all season? Yeah. I was laughing because I didn't even know who Marcus Garrett was.
Yeah, and I think that's how I'd approach it. Honestly, if LaMelo's out, I think I would just approach it like I want the cheap Hornets. I don't want to pay up. Even like Nick Smith, if Nick Smith gets like super chalky, I might go to those other guys.
Nick Smith would be like 50% owned on this slate if LaMelo's out, right? 50.
Which I get. Yeah, they do. Definitely do.
I'll say this, Jesse. I don't think you're completely wrong with the take of like, if Ball is out, Nick Smith Jr. at 50% owned, sure, no one's going to argue he's not a good play. But like for me and MME, when that happens, I don't always lock button that guy. Like I look to maybe go like 50 or 60%. And that way I'm still like allocated pretty well. Like if you were playing 3 teams, would you full fade Nick Smith Jr. in that spot? Or would you just like play him on only 1 or 2?
Well, it depended on how bad of a play I really thought he was at that ownership. Like if I just don't like it, I could play him on 1, like 33%, which is still under the field technically, right? But if I just like, I'm not playing this guy, I don't care, he's chalk, and I just don't like him as a play, then yeah, I could full fade it. I don't know where Nick Smith falls, if he falls in that category. I don't know if he falls in that category. It'll kind of depend on what the starting lineup looks like. Like if I think their starting lineup looks like they're trying to punt this game, which if LaMelo Ball sits, that's probably what they're doing here. Yeah. Then yeah, I might just go to those cheap guys, no matter what the starting lineup is. But it's just going to kind of depend on that. It's like, so yesterday, the Denver lineup gave me the impression, oh, they're not trying to punt the game. They're starting Aaron Gordon at the 5. That's what I would have done. They're starting Peyton Watson. That's what I would have done. Like they did, like their whole starting lineup was like, yep, that this is exactly what they should do against the Warriors. This is the exact type of lineup. And so if it was different, Mangone, I would have thought they were taking a little different approach with the game. So the starting lineups matter, not just from the aspect of like, okay, I want to make sure, who's in, but also like you can kind of get an idea of like what they're trying to do. If they want to see some young guys, if maybe they don't want to play the guys they know are in the rotation as much, you can get little things out of that depending on the lineups and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. That's something definitely to watch for. I think it's important to monitor this time of year. And like, we've been doing this so long, JSU. You see it when the lineup comes out. You go, oh, I know exactly what's going on here, right? And it's like, that's why being in the Discord 30 minutes before each game is super important. And it gives you, really small edges over other people. Like one thing with the Pacers last night is I really wanted to see the starting lineup because I felt like that would tell me a lot of what I need to do with that team. And then, that helped me with my core, right? Make some adjustments. I made some adjustments. And I know one of the guys in our chat, he used that to make some adjustments with his stuff. And he said he won 10K, right? Those are small things that the lineups are just so important this time of year. And it's a great point that you brought up.
Yep. Adjustments on adjustments on adjustments. That is NBA DFS in March of 2025. So get in the Discord. Discord is very important with news, RPS 15. If you want to use that promo code, get you 15% off. Make sure you get in the Discord because like Mangone said, we're in there. You can ask us questions. We're updating stuff. Even as, the slate locks. In NBA, it's never just locked, right, Mangone? Until that last game is locked on the slate or that last, slate of games are locked from that time, NBA is never, done with.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. And honestly, to the ball point with the LaMelo stuff, they don't have a lot of guards. It depends if you look at the Nuggets last night, the reason they started Tyson was they did not have a lot of guards. And that's why I just said slam Westbrook. He's the best player of the slate, right? If Bow starts, that means they're clearly going to use him at the 2 a ton. And these guys like the Wendell Moore Juniors and all these other guys, they might not play at that guard spot a little bit, right? They might even take Bow off the bench because they want him running the second unit because they don't have any guards. If LaMelo sits, the guards are clearly the spot to load up on.
Yeah, the guards are where they're thin. So I agree with you 100%. Outside of, Charlotte, talking about Atlanta for a sec, I kind of agree on the Trey thing. I played him last game against the Nets. I kind of like that spot. I do think, though, that if you ask me Trey or LaMelo, Mangone, I think I'd go Trey at the ownership that LaMelo is currently rating in at. But I do like the Okongwu play. I do like Dyson Daniels. I think we're going to get decent value from Charlotte. So it's probably a little better than the value from the Hawks. But I think Niang's an okay play on a 4-game slate at 4,200. I don't hate him. I think he could do it. Don't love Terrence Mann. These were more MME plays like Terrence Mann and Ricochet and stuff. But if you're MMEing this slate, I think I would leave them in the pool as well.
You leave someone like Ricochet because if you look at the price, JSU 4-4, how many guys at 4-4 have the ability to get you 40 DK points, right? He does.
Right.
You can't ignore that.
Exactly. That's why you leave him in. Even Niang, I think Niang could get you 30 something, and he's 4,200. So you want to leave some of those guys in, even if their floor is not as good, you still, know you have the ceiling and the price tag is cheap on those guys. But
the only way you don't leave them in, JSU, is if you firmly believe when you're building your teams and news later on is coming that there are better plays that you want to make sure that you get on. Last night, when I got all that news with Westbrook and I was like, okay, I want Westbrook. Okay, I'm not playing Keontae George, right? I'm not playing these guards in the 6K range. I still played some Kobe White, but those
that locked at 9 though, and the news was kind of close to the 9 window. So some people might not have had as much time to switch and get him out of their lineups and stuff like that. Because on the surface, Russ and Kobe, obviously Russ is a better play, even at the cheaper price tag. It doesn't matter. He's just straight up a better play. But
that's the point. If you're looking at Xing those guys, figure out what the reason why is. But I think for today's slate, you want to keep a Ricochet in there 1,000%.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on to the next game here. Brooklyn Nets and the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown still out. We're waiting on another piece of news that I feel like we're going to get the Tatum news before lock, Mango. And I just have a feeling that the Celtics aren't one of those teams where I feel like they make us wait up until 30 minutes prior. We normally get it a little before because majority of time these guys aren't actually injured. They know this is a rest spot. You know what I mean? So that's why we get it sooner. So I feel like, maybe an hour before the slate locks, we're going to get this news.
Yeah, no, I'm 1,000% with you. I think we get the news, so we'll obviously be able to make our adjustments. So they're going to be fairly healthy. You know what I mean? If you're missing one guy like Jason Tatum, are we going to be loading up?
Well, Jaylen Brown's already out.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Are we going to be loading up on them? I think we'd like them. What are you doing with the Porzingis, right? I think it's the guards. I think the guards would be the key guys because why? One, the usage, right? The usage is going to skyrocket for guards without Brown and Tatum. Porzingis at 7-8, I just don't see myself like getting excited about it. Of course, in MME format, sure, I would leave him in there, but I want to load up on Derek White and Peyton Pritchard. Those are the guys that I think really do get a lot of the usage. I could also see Al Horford. Do you think Al Horford would start? Like, I think starting lineup would be White, Holiday, Porzingis, and then I think Sam Hauser could get the start with, maybe it's with Horford. It's probably Sam Hauser. He's another guy at 4.1K that I think is really interesting because he could easily get hot against this Brooklyn Nets team. And in these matchups, I like to look for a guy like Sam Hauser that basically can play in blowout and can play if the game's close. Like a great example of that yesterday I talked about on the show was Tari Eason. I felt like Tari Eason was a really good play because, and I know the Sixers ended up bringing it to overtime, but if the game does get ugly, if it's a close game, Tari Eason does well probably. And if it's an ugly game, I think Tari Eason probably does pretty well because he's going to get a little bit of that extended blowout time. So those are kind of guys that I like to look for. Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser, they really fit that bill pretty well. So those would be two guys I'd be looking at. Derek White, of course. Drew Holiday's fine at 5'2". He's another guy that just would have upside if a Tatum was out. If a Tatum's in, do you have any take on that, JSU, of what you would do? Because I think that would make, obviously that would be a team that we'd want to kind of get off of, and then we'd be looking at this slate as more of a spot to backload, I think, or load up on the early.
Yeah, so if Tatum's in, I do think it makes some of these Celtics guys a little harder plays, right, Mangone? Like, I definitely think that. I think I'd go more the cheap route. Drew Holiday's actually been playing unbelievable. He had a really bad stretch. He was in and out of the lineup. So I think he was actually injured too, like had an issue. I can't remember what it was, if it was a hand or a finger, whatever he was dealing with, and he was out. But man, the last few games he's been crushing. I haven't really played him, but I don't know. Like, do I go back to the Drew Holiday experience? Is that 100% real? I know there were some guys out recently in some of these games, so I think he, like, the cheap guys would be where I'd be at with Boston. But again, on like a 4-game slate, would it stun me if like Kristaps Porzingis went in there and in 30 minutes put up like a big score? It wouldn't. He's another guy. He was out for like 3 weeks with a sickness, and now he's back. He played 1 game, 32 minutes against the same team. He dropped 24 points, man, and that was shooting 1 for 7 from 3. So, what if he shot 4 for 7 from 3? You know what I mean? We're talking about him, in the 40s pretty much for fantasy and stuff instead of 29. And do I really think he's going to end up with a combined 2 assists, 2 rebounds, and 0 assists, and only 1 stock? Probably not. So I think he's an interesting tournament play, to be honest with you. But it's more intriguing if Tatum sits.
Yeah.
If he sits, then I'm going to be in on the Celtics because I think the Celtics will be one of the better spots on this slate. Probably the Celtics and Golden State will be 2 of the better spots to attack. So, if he sits, I'm going to like some, like you said, the guards. So like the White, Pritchard, Holiday, I'd like 2 of them, and then I could play one of the bigs, Porzingis or Horford, depending on if I need savings or not. And, if Hauser's starting, you can always play a Hauser. Thing with him, he's just going to shoot threes, but he can get really hot, and he can, if he, makes 5, 6, 7 threes, that can get you something in DFS. So I'm definitely interested in Boston, but I'm more interested if Tatum sits. I think if Tatum sits, then we're going to be really cooking with some of these guys.
I'm 1,000% with you. So I'm definitely looking to target those guards the most. Starting lineup will matter. I'm curious what they end up doing. I know. Don't look now, JSU, but Al Horford has been good. I don't. He's
always solid, man. He's just, for fantasy, he's not as solid, like, consistently, and he's been really solid.
Look at the past 5 games. I know it's not what's going to happen, but I mean, old man Al Horford's playing minutes, man, and he's been doing it. So, and a lot of these games they've been missing Jaylen Brown, and they've been missing guys. So, I would not ignore Al Horford if he's in the starting lineup. My biggest concern, without and Tobias Harris,
Mangone finds all the old guys from every team, and he'll tell you yay or nay. He always talks them up.
Well, here's a good point too. Let's say LaMelo Ball plays. Okay, now I'm not getting as much value on the slate, and you might not have the value on the Curry stuff, even though we expect Curry to sit. And then of course you got to figure out which Golden State guy it's going to be, and good luck with figuring out Steve Kerr stuff. And then who knows if Evan Mobley plays. So the point I'm getting at, JC, is if LaMelo's in and Tatum's out, I think Al Horford is a value that you would not want to
see. I think that puts Boston as one of the better overall spots on the entire slate.
But I also
they're more predictable than Golden State. Even though I will talk about Golden State, and I do like Golden State, they're more predictable. We kind of know what Boston's going to do. The Golden State side, I'm not so sure on they played last night, Mangone.
Yeah.
It was a close game. Jonathan Kuminga played 20 minutes his first 2 games back, played 28 minutes last night on a back-to-back off of being injured for how long? His 4th game back end of a back-to-back. Do they let him play those minutes again? Does he play less? Does he play more? So that's another thing on top of the Curry being out.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. And Steve Kerr hates Kuminga, right? That's a whole other dynamic too. That's
listen, I can tell you right now, if I had speed dial to a coach in the NBA, I can guarantee you Steve Kerr is not the guy that I have speed dial to. I can just guarantee that. Out of all the coaches in the NBA, no shot me and Steve Kerr would ever talk.
Do you have anyone on the Brooklyn Nets staff on speed dial? Because we haven't talked about them, and I'll tell you this. I want to stay as far away from this team right now as I can. The only guy you can maybe talk me into, JSU, is Cam Johnson's a safe play, but I'd rather play Jimmy Butler, right? I'd just rather play some of these Warrior guys and backload it. D'Angelo Russell at 5'9", I get he has upside, but I just think I'd rather get to other guys. I'm going to do my best to stay as far away from Brooklyn on this slate as I can.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And some of the guys that were out are back for this game, right? Noah Clowney, Zaire, both probable for this game on top of D. Russ. And, Cam Johnson has been really good. He is 7K now, though, like you brought up. I agree with you. If I was going to play anyone, it would probably be him. But I'm going to try and stay away from this team with all these guys back. I don't feel the need to be cute. I think, between this 4-game slate, we're okay nixing a team out. I think it's actually a good strategy to just say, I don't want to deal with this team, maybe outside of one guy, and just get rid of them. So, yeah, I'm tossing Brooklyn out, not in my 3 teams. If you MME, you can keep, like we said, like a Cam Johnson in the pool, maybe a D. Russ or something like that. But it just stinks a lot of these guys outside of maybe Cameron Johnson, they just have minutes restrictions in a way. Not actual minutes restrictions, but ones we kind of know are there because they're not trying to play their best unit for 35 minutes a night. You know what I mean? They're not Nick Claxton's not playing 40 minutes. D'Angelo Russell's not playing 40 minutes. For some reason, Cameron Johnson, I don't know if because he was out for a big stretch, Mangone, the coaching staff, is letting him get his run in or something like that. But he's the only guy that's getting consistently, 35, 36 minutes the last 3 games.
Yeah, I'm very good with just staying away from this Nets team right now. If it beats me, it beats me. I'll take my chances on some of these later plays.
Jay Hill, you got me. Sitting on the phone books. Damn it. No one has a phone book anyways. You got to find something else I could sit on to boost me up here. No one's got phone books nowadays. It's 2025.
Yeah, I don't think
has a phone book.
I don't think anyone has a phone book.
No way anyone's got a phone. Do people have landlines anymore? There's no way people have like actual landlines that they use.
No, I definitely haven't seen one in a while. So I know when I was setting up my stuff here, they asked me if I wanted a landline, and I was like, I don't need
You're like, why the fuck would I need a landline? I got a cell phone. Like, I don't need no damn landline.
They just asked, it was part of the questions, I guess. But no, I don't need a landline. I'm good.
AP's got AP. You got a landline? What?
They've just probably had it for so long in that house. Like, yeah, it's just been there.
Reggie's metal water bowl. Yeah, I mean, Reggie's bowls are pretty big, so he's a big dog. That probably not that good, but close, I would say. All right, next game here. Let's get to the 10 o'clock window. Milwaukee and Golden State. Man, going. Let's hit us with the old injury report for this game because we got some guys Q tagged and out.
Yeah, I mean, this Golden State game is definitely going to be a pretty important game on this slate. Obviously, they're missing Curry. You mentioned the Kuminga stuff. Podziemski and Post, they are currently questionable. We'll see what ends up happening with that. And then, of course, the Bucks, they're pretty healthy. But for me, JSU, we know Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler loves to play the Bucks, right? Like, I mean, this Bucks team, I'm not saying it's the same team it's been, but Jimmy likes to play against the Bucks, and 7.9K. I'm definitely interested. I'm interested in Draymond Green at 6'2". I talked about it on the show yesterday. He's now power forward eligible, not just center, so that's kind of nice to have that added back in. So those are probably my two favorite plays on the Warriors side. When we're trying to figure out the other options on the Warriors, this is where it gets a little tough because Podziemski news matters. I'll say this: if Podziemski's out, we like to use guards against the Milwaukee Bucks. Which Milwaukee Buck is it? That's going to be a big debate. I mean, Buddy Hield at 4.5K. I know he has upside, but he has not been getting as much of the minutes. He could pop off. He could not. I actually think one guy that's pretty interesting in this spot, JSU, and he's been getting consistent 20-plus minutes a night, it's Gary Payton II. If we are starving for value and we're struggling, at 3.9K, I actually think he's a really interesting value play. It's a revenge game, too, if that matters. He used to play for this team a little bit. He's probably my, sneaky guy in this game that I think is kind of intriguing to take some shots on. But Butler and Draymond are probably my two favorite guys. On the Milwaukee Bucks side of the ball, of course, Giannis is a good spend. You can make the case for Damian Lillard. Another guy that I think fits this game pretty well if we're struggling for value is Kevin Porter Jr. I know the minutes haven't been great, but in more of a smaller ball game environment, which this game could certainly go that way, that could fit a guy like KPJ a little bit better, right? A little up and down, faster tempo game. So that's another guy to look at. Taurean Prince as a cheap value, but again, if we get value, these are guys that I don't want to get exposure to. And it's really looking at the Golden State side. Like I said, Jimmy Butler, Draymond, I really like those two guys. I think Gary Payton Jr. is an intriguing value. And then after that, the fourth best guy would maybe be Moses Moody. But again, we got to be a little cautious with some of these Warriors guys, especially if we get news on the Boston and the Charlotte stuff. Then we're going to want to load up on those earlier values over these later values.
Yeah, Draymond getting thrown out tonight. What do we think? First quarter, second quarter? I could see it. He said he was tired. He said we're all tired, not just Steph. He said we're all tired.
Well, yeah, he never likes playing without Steph, right? So that's a good call. And I don't know if you've seen him he's getting chirpy right now. I mean, it's starting to become playoff time. He did the night. He did night on Cap the other night. He's talking a lot.
He's still got Jimmy, though. I get it. He doesn't like to play without Steph. I don't blame him. His game kind of sucks without Steph. Or you need a Steph replacement or something like that. But, I could see it. It wouldn't shock. The problem is, though, what I said. You talked about Brandon Podziemski. He's been injured. Yeah. Do we think he just comes back in and plays his normal role, Mangone? Because I don't think so.
It's just not guaranteed. And Steve Kerr is definitely a hot hand approach kind of coach. And he'll change it up out of nowhere. But I do think it makes a lot of sense to just lean into Gary Payton a little bit in this matchup. I think he makes a ton of sense of Moses Moody. I think
the guy that makes the most sense is actually Buddy Hield.
Well,
because without Steph Curry on the floor, they need someone who's going to run around with the threat of just pulling, right? The threat for Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green to, get some potential assists with on the perimeter. And as much as I like Gary Payton and I like his game, that's not really his game, right? Gary Payton gets a lot of stuff through a lot of the stars, right? He's like the guy who teams want to, force him to create offense, obviously. But Buddy Hield can actually do it. Buddy Hield can somewhat create his own shot, but he can be created for much easier, and he can give that threat. I'm not saying he's Steph Curry. I'm just saying he likes to jack threes like he's Steph Curry. And with Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green, that's what they want. They want that threat. So he kind of, to me, makes the most sense.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's all three of them, right? Like, I think I want to lean into the guards and not Podziemski. Even if Podziemski's in, I want to lean into all three of them. Like,
yeah. The only way I'd play Podziemski is if Steve Kerr, if he started and Steve Kerr's he's fully healthy. Like he's fully healthy. Even then, I don't know if I believe him 100%, but at least if he came out and said it, then I'd be like, okay. But if he comes out and says anything other than that, or he doesn't start, I don't want anything to do with Podziemski because he's definitely on somewhat of a minutes restriction. Yeah, but Mangone, I do think it's going to force Jimmy Butler to have to be more assertive offensively.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love Jimmy in this spot. He's definitely going to be a kind of a priority spend for me, I think, on this slate. So let me see his ownership. Ownership is 24%. Draymond's around 35. So
that's not as high as I thought. Honestly.
Yeah, he's someone that I think should be 40% owned.
I might honestly, depending on how this early news hits, I might just jam Golden State. They to me seem like they're in the best spot. Even though I do worry about Draymond getting thrown out or getting early foul trouble with Giannis just because he doesn't want to play without Steph. But starting lineup's going to be crucial for this team for sure.
Well, not just that, JSU. Let's say Evan Mobley sits. I mean, that's going to really open up a lot more opportunity for these Cavaliers, right? So don't ignore the possibility that an Evan Mobley could sit in this spot. You know what I mean? So
I got another question before we get to that last game. What if Podziemski doesn't play? Is he 100% to even play?
He's definitely not 100% to play, right? And
so what if he doesn't play? Because if he doesn't play, then would a Pat Spencer become a good play? Because I would think he'd get some run.
He could, and also a Quentin Post could not play. And if a Quentin Post doesn't play, you could see them lean into Draymond at the 5, Jimmy at the 4, and then you got Gary Payton at the 3, right? You got all these spots open.
You're gonna get Jimmy guarding Giannis.
You could. Ready? I mean, I could see it. Jimmy's kind of motivated right now. They're in the honeymoon phase, right? I could see Jimmy licking his chops a little bit to get after this game. So, I think there's a lot of ways Golden State could be good, but I want to lean into the guards. And the reason why is I always target Milwaukee with guards, right? And so I want to lean into that just even more. And who knows, maybe I luck box into Evan Mobley sitting out of nowhere, right? And if I do, that's great. You know what I mean? I can obviously lean into some of these other Cleveland Cavaliers that we got.
And you said it too. The one thing that Draymond said is they don't want to be in the play-in. He's like, that's why we're going so hard. We do not want to be in the play-in. And right now, they are pretty much a game off being in the play-in. So they're in the 6th seed right now. Minnesota is in 7th, and Minnesota's been playing really well. And literally, they're only a game down. So, or a game ahead, whatever it is. So, they need to win games because Minnesota's been winning and they're coming on, and that's a big thing for them. They don't want to be in this play-in.
Well, not just that, JSU. Draymond Green went on national TV, right, when everyone was watching during the All-Star game stuff, and he said, we're winning a title. And honestly, so when he first said it, he was like, we have a chance to, and then
I wouldn't be shocked.
And then he changed the stance because he was they kind of bullied him. And it's dude, they got to win. You know what I mean? This is their chance. They're full throttle pushing to win this thing. So I'm with you. I want to lean into
I
these.
do think that we see a little bit of Looney. If Post is out, we see a little bit more of Looney, obviously.
Let's say
I
Post
just
is
don't think they're going to be able to run Draymond at the 5 all game, but maybe they will. I don't.
So let's say Post sits. If he does, and Looney is starting, what do you think his minutes will be? Because I'm still concerned that he won't be like a 26-minute or 24-minute guy. Like I still think it might be like 15 to 18.
I think he plays like 20 to 24 minutes if he starts.
Okay. I mean,
so I think probably 20, but I think he could get up to like 24 minutes if they needed him to. And that'll kind of depend on foul trouble probably for Draymond, and or Jimmy. But I definitely think he's going to need to play at least one. So I think at that point, though, at 3,600 on a 4-game slate, he's an okay play, even though I hate Kevon Looney. I think I'm going to get suckered into a lot of these plays, though. I think they're going to end up being good plays depending on, like I said, the starting lineup and who's officially in and out. So, which this news we won't 100% get. Like we got the Steph Curry news, we probably won't get the Pods news until later. So that's another reason why just be in the Discord. That game doesn't start till 10, so you have a nice 2.5 hour buffer between these. The second game locking and the third game locking. So make sure you're in that Discord. Let's get to the last game, man. Going Cleveland and the Clippers here. Cavaliers possibly could be without Evan Mobley. You already brought it up. Questionable for this game. Everyone else is pretty healthy for them. And then on the Clippers side, they're pretty much healthy too. They got Norman Powell, Kawhi Leonard, Zubac, Ben Simmons has been back, been in. They're all playing. So what are we doing with presumably fully healthy teams if Evan Mobley is in, Mangone?
Yeah, I mean, if Evan Mobley's in, it's definitely tougher to play some of these Cleveland guys, right? I mean, when you look at this full team, you got Mitchell, Mobley, Garland, and Allen. And, price hikes on these guys, $8K for Garland, Mitchell, 8.8. I mean, even Jared Allen, 7K. And, dude, a matchup against the Clippers, I don't know. The Clippers aren't like this team I love to target in DFS, the teams I like to target are like the Charlotte Hornets, the Atlanta Hawks. It's just, I'm not going to be super excited about these guys. Sure, if you want to make the case that a Donovan Mitchell at low ownership, you could get pieces here and there, but do not get too overweight on them. Not only that, they got Max Truss, they got DeAndre Hunter. I mean, Ty Jerome. Those are the guys I really want to look at if a Mobley's out. Because if a Mobley is out, you're going to see Jared Allen. You're going to see him play a lot at the 5. And then you're obviously going to see DeAndre Hunter play a lot more at the 4. And that's going to open up some of these roles for these guys. So that's definitely a key piece of news. I don't even have a lean on what's going to happen with it. Typically, I have leans on, hey, I think this guy's in, this guy's out. Mobley, I really just don't know. We haven't seen them really make that many decisions on them in the past. So I don't know my exact take on what to do with that. It's more, hey, I'm going to be backloaded enough, right? It's a 4-game slate. There's 2 games later. I'll find ways to make adjustments. I'll just wait to see what the news is and what that starting lineup is going to be. The Clippers side of the ball, James Harden is 10-3. That feels pretty expensive. We're going to need value in order to play someone like him. I do kind of like this spot a little bit for Kawhi at 8.2K, just because I do think we're starting to see real Kawhi Leonard back in our lives. You know what I mean? They're starting to actually play him a little bit more. It sucks that Norman Powell, 7.2K, he could mess up the situation a little bit. But if you force me to pick JSU, I think I'm team Kawhi over anyone. But I don't want to play these values either. I don't want to play Derek Jones Jr. If you force me to pick a Clippers value, I guess it's Chris Dunn at 4-1, but I'd much rather play a Buddy Hield or a Gary Payton instead. Yeah. So for this game, I think it's mainly leaning into lower owned studs, but I do expect this game to be probably the lowest owned game of the night. Unless for some reason Tatum plays, I think this game's the lowest owned.
And I think for good reason, honestly. You've got 2 fully healthy teams with a lot of guys, especially on the Clipper side, that have price hikes because they played so much without guys in for such a long time. I agree with you that if I'm picking, I think Kawhi Leonard might be my favorite spend in this game. But if Evan Mobley's out, I think that pushes Jared Allen into play. I think it makes DeAndre Hunter a little bit more interesting. I think it makes Donnie Mitchell a little bit more interesting as a spend. So, if Evan Mobley's in, I probably won't play much of this game, outside of maybe a one-off in general. I think it's the game that I am going to like the least. The more I'm looking at it, the more I have a feeling that LaMelo Ball ends up sitting, which, like I said, we'll get. So I think we're going to like that game a little bit more with the value. I know we don't like Brooklyn, but I think Boston, there will be plays regardless of if Tatum sits or not. Milwaukee and Golden State, I think we're going to like the most, depending on the Boston news, obviously. So I think this game is clearly the least interesting game to me. I will say, if you're, I would assume James Harden's going to be low owned. So if you're just looking at it from an ownership standpoint, I don't hate the idea of, in this game, spending up for your guy. You know what I'm saying, man? Get a spend up from this game as opposed to like pulling a value. I think these other games are going to have better values. So if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to spend up probably in this spot. So a Donnie Mitchell, a Kawhi Leonard, a James Harden. And then, like I said, if Evan Mobley is out, then you could play a Jared Allen, a DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, I probably have it ranked similar to you. I don't know if you have it ranked that way, but I want these. If I do play anyone, it's the studs. And my ranking would be Kawhi 1, probably Donnie Mitch 2, and then Harden 3.
The only way I'd change it is if Evan Mobley's out, I'd probably go Donnie 1.
Yeah, that's fair, 100%. And I was thinking with more Mobley in, but yes, I agree. If Mobley's out, that would definitely,
does. I feel like he does play Mangone too, but I'm not 100% sure. Some of these spots, like I'm not 100% sure for sure. I feel like LaMelo's going to sit. I don't really have a feel on Tatum. I feel like they should sit Tatum.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're Boston, you're looking at it like we're probably not going to catch Cleveland for the one Mangone. I don't think at this point. And the Knicks are like 6 games back or something like that. They're probably not catching the Celtics. You're playing the Nets. This game is at home. I don't know. I would probably sit him here, but maybe he's pushing a play because this game's at home. You know what I mean? Or something like that. But
yeah, JC, we should call this out too. And it's not easy to make decisions based on this, but Clippers on Tuesday today. Then they play at Sacramento tomorrow, at Phoenix on Friday, Sunday at Utah, and then at Portland on Tuesday. My guess, and this is the start of like a long road trip, my guess is you're going to see these Cavs try and push to play like more of the first 3 games, and then you'll see some resting in Utah and Portland. You know what I mean?
The Clippers, right? You mean the Clippers?
Yeah, sorry. They're going to play against the Clippers. Like, I think Mobley, he probably pushes to play tonight if he can. If he doesn't, it is the front end of a back-to-back. But the point I'm getting at is they can rest them at Utah and at Portland on Sunday and Tuesday. So I think
you're saying that's the Cavs schedule. It was kind of confusing the way you said it. It sounded like it was the Clippers schedule, but that's the Cavs schedule.
Yeah, I worded it wrong. The only other thing that could be playing a factor that we're not accounting for is Mobley is questionable right now. It could just be a scheduled rest day already built in.
100%, especially if they're playing at Phoenix and at Utah. At Sacramento tomorrow, and then at Phoenix at Utah. This could definitely be a scheduled rest day.
Yeah, it could be. But again, this Cleveland team, they've been pushing all year long. It's hard
Ball out.
Okay, and like with Ball out, and again, we don't have the starting lineup, but I think that's the most important.
Why is Mark Williams playing? Just might as well sit his ass too at this point.
I bet you Mark Williams wants to play because I bet he's like pretty pissed about that like report stuff. I don't know if he's like a free agent this year or anything like that, but like I bet you he's trying to play.
So we got that LaMelo Ball out. It just had that feeling like he was going to sit Mangone. So
yeah,
I mean, I don't know if you have any other I really think it's still a spot where you want to wait for the starters. I do think that Damian Bow kid does play a lot in this spot with no LaMelo.
If he starts, it's going to be very telling. But I'll say this, Jason, I think there's a chance, and I bet you'll agree with me on this. I bet there's a chance they don't start him, and he just runs the entire second unit just because they don't have guys. You know what I mean? Like, unless I don't think KJ Simpson's there, right? Is he going to play at all? I don't think he's available.
I don't know if he's available is the problem. I don't think he is available, but
and so I could easily see Bow being the guy that comes off the bench, runs the second unit, and then when this game is out of hand and disgusting, you know what's going to happen? He's going to play the entire fourth.
That's why I think like the Damian Bow play, maybe Wendell Moore Jr., Marcus Garrett, those are the type of guys to maybe look at.
Yeah.
Because when this game gets out of hand, like, yeah. So
and here's another good way to look at the slate, JSU. If I told you
not for LaMelo Ball, it ain't. He'd be playing.
If I told you on this, like this slate's not the best slate, you know what I mean? But if I told you you played Bow and you played Buddy Hield, those are two guys that you like, JSU. You're gonna like Bow, I think. Okay. You're gonna like Buddy Hield. How much salary do you think you're left with your last 6 spots?
I mean, 8 something.
So not as much as you said, but $7K. And you don't have to even dive into that much value after that. He's $3K. The value of him being $3K versus looking at these other Charlotte Hornets, right? Nick Smith Jr. is $4.7. He's going to be probably the best play on the board for Charlotte. But like DeQuan Jeffries is $4K. Josh Green is $3.9. Like I just think you gotta like the $3K tags. You know what I mean? Like if Wendell Moore Jr. starts at 3.1, he's going to be a guy that you have to look at. So these 3K values are going to be just very valuable.
Yeah, exactly. And like even a guy, I know we talked about Mark Williams and stuff, and he's obviously going to play and stuff like that. But, you know, if he gets less minutes, the only problem is they have Diabate too, who can kind of muddy it up. So you really want to focus on the forwards and guards, I think, for this spot. And I agree with you, Mangone. I think with Ball out, we can just kind of fully focus on that and see what they start and kind of go from there. So, all right, let's do the plays of the day. Guys, hit the like button on the video. Obviously, RPS 15. If you want 15% off, you can come check us out over at Run Pure Sports. Get in the Discord. Use that promo code RPS 15 for 15%. And we got a March Madness show later tonight, so I just want to make sure I reiterate, the boys will be on 11 p.m. Eastern time. Stevie Boynton, Big T, and Gavin breaking down the March Madness bracket for the tournament starting. What does it start tomorrow? Technically, I guess, but
well, it technically starts tonight, right? There's playing games. If you want, I'll give you 2 of Steve Boynton's bets for the playing games. Okay, I know 2 of them. He is on San Diego State tonight, right? SDSU tonight against UNC. UNC sucks. I actually DM'd him during the show to ask, and I'll give you the breakdown from Boynton. If you want to get on this bet, right? This is a great way to.
What time is this game, man, going?
It's tonight. You can get in right now if you want. You're definitely able to get in on the bet. I think it starts at. Let's see.
Starts at 9:10.
Yeah, 9:10. So I'm in on the bet. You get San Diego State plus 4.5. I took them plus 4.5.
Plus 170.
You could take that too if you want. But I got the 4.5 points is what I did. I'll probably sprinkle the money line after. But he said, I bet him it's a horrendous matchup for Miami. Carolina scores in transition, and San Diego is a top 5 transition defense in the sport. So it's a great breakdown.
All right. Listen, Stevie Boynton, I got so much faith in you. Forget the 4.5. We're taking the plus 170. Mangone, get some faith in our boy Stevie Boynton. Hit that plus 170 for some, just some vibes.
Yeah, and I also took Xavier. They play Texas tomorrow. I got the -1. It's now 2.5. So you lost a little bit there on that, but if you want, you could do a little parlay if you want. Or you could call them, I bet JSU. Do you call him Xavier or do you call him X-Xavier? I bet you're an X-Xavier guy, JSU.
So there's a Zavarian near me, like a high school. So there's Xavier though. I actually know that. I don't call him Xavier.
Okay.
But whenever I say it though, Zavarian just sticks in my head because that's a school like around here. But
Yeah.
So yeah, Xavier for me. But all right, I'm riding with Stevie Boynton.
Apparently JVC's on UNC, but that's okay. You know, I'm gonna ride with the dude that watches 30,000 things of film.
Listen. JVC, he's great. He knows the shit when it comes to betting, but nobody jerks to college basketball more than Stevie Boynton. He knows his shit. Not saying JVC doesn't know his shit, but Stevie Boynton watches a shitload of college basketball. That's what he does. College basketball and baseball. Conveniently, they pretty much like end in one starts, man, going. So it's like perfect. And the guy loves college basketball. So I trust my boy Stevie. Hit the plus 170 just now live, just for the vibes, and hopefully to celebrate while those guys talk winners at 11 p.m. Eastern. So check those guys out tonight on this YouTube channel if you want more of the breakdown. All right, man, going play of the day here. Let's give it. What do you got?
Yeah, I am gonna go with my the guy that I said was off the board a little bit. I'm going with Gary Payton. I feel confident in his minutes. I like guards against the Bucks, and he's gonna get those steals and blocks. He's gonna get it done. We're gonna get that high energy ceiling game from Gary Payton Jr. So,
all right, Gary Payton Jr. That's kind of the exact play I was figuring Mangone was going to give.
I would love to give Al Horford. I would give Al Horford if Tatum.
Honestly, I thought you were going to give Al Horford. I really thought you were going to give him.
I need Tatum out. I'll say this: if Tatum's out, I'm going to be going overweight on Horford for sure.
I'm going to give someone. I think this guy is going to be unowned. I'm going to go with Buddy Hield for my unowned play. Or I think he's going to be unowned. Mangone could tell me if I'm wrong, but 4,500. He's a perfect tournament play because it's just a boom bust play, but exact type of guy that can go off. And at 4,500, if he nukes, that's a slate ender for people that don't have him if he does end up nuking for this team. So I like it. You get the 3-point bonus on DK, and hopefully we get lucky and Podziemski ends up out, and Quentin Post ends up out, and they just a little thinner than normal and stuff like that. Because the one thing that sucks about Buddy is his minutes aren't always guaranteed, and Steve Kerr is the worst when it comes to the minutes. But yeah, I'm gonna roll with it. 4-game slate. Take my shot with a low-owned guy. If you want more cores, everything like that, check us out. RPS, RunPureSports.com for everything you guys need when it comes to DFS and betting. Mangone, appreciate you hanging out with me. Hit that like button on your way out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place. For Mangone, I'm JSU. We're out of here. Peace.